Merry Meet, the floating voice you hear is Annie, welcoming you to this video, which I am so happy to bring to you. I have had many questions from those who have posted comments on the stone readings I have put public, and those I have done them for privately, and even people who have emailed me after seeing the videos. And the question is, how do you do it? Could you give us some instruction? And I'm so glad to do that, because it's wonderful to be able to bring things to those who haven't tried them. They don't cost an arm and a leg, and which it is easy to collect what we need to do them. I appreciate that you may not have seen a lot of stonework done. When I was learning to do this, I knew many who were doing it. I have not seen it a lot in recent years. So I'm hoping it comes back, and if any of you take this on because you've seen this video or want to try something looking at my other videos, then I will be so happy, because I love working with the stones. And indeed, it is similar to working with runes or working with the tarot. It is what is considered to be bone work. Working with what we cast and what we then use our minds to interpret. How do we begin? We begin with a collection of stones. I have always liked polished stones. I do have friends who have a collection of the more raw stones. I've just always liked handling the polished stones because they feel similar in the sense of how they feel in my hand, and therefore I am more sensitive to the difference in their energies. You'll decide what it is for you. It takes time to build your correspondence for the stones, and here's where you would start. What stones you already have, get them into one place. Get them into a container or a bag, someplace that you can hold them together. It works best to have them of similar size. So the polished stones are great because you can keep everything small and inexpensive. Very easy to come across in online stores and new age shops nowadays. Don't worry about which stones you have. Some are more expensive than others. I started off with all the most cheap, inexpensive stones and built it from there. I have more stones than what's currently in this container. 4 of them or 5 of them are currently being used in some working I'm doing, so they're living elsewhere. But these are enough to show you what would go on. What you need to know is just simply get to know each of your stones well. For the purpose of divination, the correspondence table you will set up for yourself is for each stone that you work with. You want several columns of information. The information is so easy to put together. You can find it in books, and it is out there online in many wonderful websites. Here's how I suggest you go about it. If you have no books and you have some polished stones, one by one take out the stones that you have. So let's just grab one from here. The top one was sunstone. And now we're going to begin to build our correspondences using resources online. Google sunstone, metaphysical properties of sunstone, magical properties of sunstone. Find yourself a good site that has a listing of the properties of stones. You are going to be looking at the most basic, I would say, for 4 categories of correspondences. They're the ones I use in divination work and in meditation. They would be the aspects of the stones that have to do with personality. What kind of person is a sunstone person? You will find endless correspondences out there. Write them all down in a column. Write them in a book. Type them up in a document. That's where mine are. List them. All the things that sunstone is when it comes to personality. The next most important category is, if we think of that first category as the person, the next category is the person in relationship to loved ones, family, and community. In other words, the extroverted, the outward aspects of what a sunstone person is. So we have the person in relation to their wider community, and then the third category is the spiritual aspects of that person. And you will easily find correspondences for all 3 of those. The 4th category you might want to consider, if you work with magic, is the magical aspects of the stone. Some people put healing aspects under magic, and some put healing aspects under spirituality. You can put it where you want to, or create your own category. I actually have about 12 categories for every one of my stones. What element they relate to, what holiday, what gods, what season, what day of the week, what astrological sign, what their astrological connection is. So my correspondences have grown over the years. I love lists, so it was very easy for me to put together correspondences. Take whatever stones you have, and at the minimum, do yourself correspondence columns that are the person in relationship to community, people beyond themselves, the spiritual aspects, and the magical aspects if that appeals to you. First three suffice. The last one works very well when you are doing readings for other magical practitioners. So what you're going to do is for every one of the stones you have, sunstone, garnet, amethyst, quartz, whatever your collection is, whatever you have, make yourself a correspondence list. I use my lists to this day. I am not someone who holds much in the way of memory. Each of the stones has a general meaning they've come to mean for me now, especially in a single stone cast, but I'm not good at remembering. I wasn't good at remembering runes or tarot either. I love my correspondence book. So don't feel like this is something that you have living in your head. It can be very well what you have journaled and written, what you have in a collection. Mine are typed and put in 3-ring binders. It's simple as that for me. That's how you get your correspondences. As you deal with the stones, if you want to take anything off that list, and if your experience causes you to add to the list, you do that. That list will become very personal to you. There are a lot of things in my lists that you will find in more public lists, but there are also things in there that they would be meaningless to others. That's not how the stone feels to them, but it is how it has come to feel for me. That list becomes personal over time. For each of the 3 major categories for divination, which is the personal aspects, the aspects in community, and the spiritual aspects, there is a reverse. Use your computer. Use the thesaurus in your computer and find out what the opposite of the word you have in your positive traits are. They become your challenging traits. At the minimum, you're going to have 6 columns. You're going to have a column for the personality traits of any given stone. Easy to find and build on the internet. You're going to have the opposites to that, so you know what the challenges would be. Then the powers of that person in relationship to others and in community, the gifts that they bring and where their powers lie, and also their challenges. If a person has a stone, something, let us say something regal, like cornelian, which would be someone who has presence and charisma and authority. What would be the reverse of that person when it comes to if their relationship to community is they can take on responsibilities and they have a sense of charisma and people look up to them and they hold a place of power in community? What is the opposite? They may find it hard to give that up. They may find it hard to understand why somebody doesn't take their word as law. I can say that because I am very heavy in the cornelian when it comes to my personality. I use other stones to balance that for myself. The next column would be something like spirituality. So we have the person in relation to community, and now spirituality. Let's just take sunstone. Sunstone lives up to its name. When it comes to many of the spiritual characteristics around sunstone, it is solar, thrives in the daytime, loves the energy of the sun. What would be a reverse or a challenge? Perhaps shadow and night and darkness is not sunstone's friend. So for each of the 3 major forms of divination, which is the person in relationship to other people, and the spirituality of the person, there is a column of strengths and a column of challenges. That's how you build your correspondences. That is really all there is to stonework. If you like lists and you like writing and collecting, you will find this very easy. If you don't like lists, you are going to find that part so tedious, and you're just going to have to get over it and do it if you want to play with these. And know that once you set up your correspondences, you will change them infrequently. You will change them, but once they are done, at least it's not something you have to continue doing to a great degree.